Okay, so here we go. We have this line drafted out, half, 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 half. We worked up and then we worked our way down. Here's how this comes into play. All right, this first section here, the way I like to start is, this is the chin, okay? I am just going to start adding 2 diagonal lines, kind of going up a little bit to kind of form the chin. So I know it's there. I'm not going to worry too much about the head yet until I get my shoulders drawn. All right. So I'm just going to add a little smiley face here. Smiley faces will be the theme of this drawing. The next thing that I want to add is where this X is right here. All right, where the X is, this is actually my shoulder line. So I'm going to draw a straight line across. I want to make sure it's the same size on the left as it is on the right. It needs to be equal. Okay, it needs to be parallel to the top of the page. Sometimes I use this as a way to see if this is straight. Okay, that's straight. Here's the other thing about how long this line should be. If you notice on this drawing, I have like 3 little heads drawn up here. Your shoulders are 3 head widths apart. So if this is about the width of my head, I'm drawing it really light, then if I have another one, sometimes I'll draw the circles, sometimes I'll just put a little mark. So if it's this wide, then I'll put a little mark out here. So I can use my pencil to see, are my shoulders going out the right direction, okay, and how wide they should be. So this way we don't get linebackers, even though girls can play football and do make good linebackers. This model is going to have shoulders that are 3 heads apart, okay? So shoulder line, ta-da! I'm going to jump over this line. I'm coming down to this segment here. This line, again, same length on both sides. This line is shorter than this line. This line ends up being the bottom of the rib cage. So after I draw that line, I go back and I will draw these diagonals in. This should be a pretty even trapezoid or an upside down triangle with the top cut off. If these lines, if these diagonal lines don't look the same, it means that your links are off on the side. So then basically try to make the diagonal lines the same, and then you can shorten your line up if you need to. Okay. If you made this too wide, your lady is going to have more of a rectangular form rather than an hourglass form that we are working towards. All right. So shoulder line, bottom of the rib cage. Now, this was our belly button, so this will end up being our waist in a minute. This line here, this is the tops of our hips. So the top of our hips, again, all these lines are parallel. Okay. This line is going to be slightly longer than this line above. So slightly bigger than the top of the rib cage, but nowhere near the size of the shoulders, because if I go down here, this line, again, parallel, this line is going to be the same length as my shoulder line. So I can use my pencil to line it up to double check, and I can use my eraser to try to get that to be the same size. And then these are going to connect back out. All right. So again, if you saw there, I mimicked my diagonal from this side to this side. Even though my line came out to here, I could correct it as I drew it. So there's a lot of correcting as you are drawing this. So it's already starting to look like a person. We've got a rib cage. We've got a hip cage. We got hips. Like I said earlier, this is our waistline. What I like to do at this point is I like to round out the connection between the rib cage and the hips. Okay? Keeping in mind your waist is the smallest part. Okay? So it's going to come in and then come back out and connect to the bottom. This is my waistline. I like to start adding a small, tiny smiley face here. Okay? It's going to start going up on the edges. This is going to help me remember that this lady is three-dimensional, okay? So I tend to draw a waistline on there as well. But if you notice, it's slightly curved up. Speaking of slight curves, once I draw the rib cage and the hips, I like to go back up and resolve the shoulders up here. Speaking of happy faces, this X here is going to turn into a smile. What I'm going to do is from the middle of that X, I am going to add a smile on both sides. So I shouldn't say smile, I should say curve line. But I'm going to add a curve line, and I want the line to end slightly inside where I have the head, okay? So it's not going to go out to your ears. Your neck doesn't start at your ears and down. It's slightly in from your ears. And this is going to connect up to my neck. Okay, this one actually comes in a little bit more. Okay, again, correcting as we go. So I added the smile on purpose because that is where the neck ends, is at the top of that smile. And then it forms a diagonal line, like a small little triangle down to where the shoulders connect. All right. So now it's looking even better. So I've got a neck. I could go in and I'm going to round out the head because I know kind of the size of the head. The head is basically a circle on top, and then it's going to narrow down with some straight lines down to where those first diagonal lines came in with the chin. Okay, so now I have my head. Yay! So moving down. Okay, I know I'm jumping around. People have different methods of doing this, but I'm jumping down. So from here, I am going to add the legs. So this mark down here that we have made, this is where the knees are, okay? The knees are going to end up being two circles that are equally distanced from the center line, okay? These circles basically come straight down from the middle of the hip. They come down to here, and then you draw two circles, okay? Just to finish out the legs before we start drawing the outside of the legs, if I move down, this is the ankle bone down here, this little line. Underneath these two circles, I'm going to draw two smaller circles, okay? Same distance apart, okay? These are going to be my guidelines, all right? So when I go to draw the legs, what I want to do and how I like to think about drawing the legs is up here, I start with a curve because I want to start thinking about this body as being three-dimensional and that this is actually a cylinder that I'm drawing here. So if I start this line up and down, then I will connect the bottom of the hip here, and I'm going to aim down to the side of this circle. So as I come down here, once I hit that circle, I can kind of round out that circle, and then I can actually keep heading down to the edge of this circle. So that's the outside of my leg. So the inside of my leg, you have your thighs in here. The thighs are going to come in. They're a little bit meatier towards the top. And then the inner leg comes in. And again, you're aiming for that side of the circle. and then it's going to come around the inside of your calf. Your calf muscle is meatier on the top of the muscle. Meatier on the top of the muscle. And then it's going to get thinner as it comes down. And again, you're aiming towards the side of that circle. Okay. So I'll do the same over here. I'm going to draw down. The outsides are pretty straight. This one's going to come in, give a little bit of meatiness to the calf, thinner, and then back down here. Try to make them equal. Okay, my legs are okay. This one's kind of funky. And if it's bugging me, now that I have the knees in there, I can go ahead and erase those circles because I have my exterior lines in. And then once I erase those circles, remember, like your knee has like that curve of the circle still in it. And then it's going to come down here and there's a better leg. Okay. So once I am down here, the feet are simple. Your feet are about the same height as your head. So however tall your head is, if you come down here, I'm going to add two smiley faces on the bottom. And then from the edges of my ankle bone, I'm going to connect those out to my feet. This could actually be a little bit more curvy. Okay, it's a real simple way of drawing feet. Ta-da! Now I have feet. I've got legs, I've got feet. I just need arms now. Yay, arms! All right. Arms are a little tricky. With the arms, we want to make sure that our elbows are not too long, so then our arms are way too long. So to ensure that our elbows get placed in the right place, what we do is we operate on an arc, okay? An arc, it's another reason why I put this little curve line here as a reminder. An arc is a curve line, okay? Oh, my hand's in the way. This arc starts at the X. So if I put my pencil here, I grab it at the X. The tip of my pencil is on my belly button, okay? It's on the waistline. What's going to happen is I'm picking up my pencil just a tad. I'm going to draw an arc. The center of my arc stays on the X. But if you notice, my pencil is coming out in an arc, in a curve going up this way. So I can kind of visualize it. I can kind of see. I can go, okay, so from here, there's an arc up here. It's like a big smiley face on both sides. Oh, you can't see that. And then I can double check. So I'll do this a little bit darker so you can see. Your elbow will lie somewhere in this range. Okay. So as I do it, if I'm like, okay, I'm going to have one hand on her hip out here. So if her hand's on her hip, then I'm going to draw a small circle here. And then a smaller circle down here where the hand is actually going to go. Okay. That's going to go along with a circle that I'm also drawing up here in the shoulder. If you notice, big, medium, small. Okay. This shoulder ball joint, if you notice, is not drawn outside of the figure. Part of the ball lives inside the shoulder. Part of the ball lives inside the arm. So what I tend to do is I make sure the top of my circle fits in this triangle shape. Okay. So if the top of my circle is here, I have a little bit of my ball out in my shoulder, in my arm, and a little in my shoulder. All right, here's how this works. The circle helps you round out the shoulder. I'm going to draw a line out to my elbow, this circle is going to round out my elbow, and then I'm going to head down to my wrist bone. Same thing with the inside. The size of this circle, sorry, my computer keeps going to sleep. There we go. The size of this circle determines how thick my armpit is, I guess, or no, my upper arm. So I'm going to go from the bottom of the circle. Again, I'm aiming to the inside of this elbow circle, and then I'm going to aim to the inside of my wrist circle. And because I'm putting the wrist on the hip, or like hands in the pockets would be further in, but I'm going to just draw kind of a happy face that's resting on the hip. And then I'm just going to, for now, I'm just going to connect that with 2 lines. So now her hip is kind of resting on her, or her hand is resting on her hip. This arm I'm going to draw hanging straight down. So with this one, I'm going to do an elbow circle. I'll do my shoulder circle. Make sure they're the same size. This lady is looking straight at us. And then my arm that's facing straight down. I always forget how far down. This is where I tend to look at the reference photo, because hands always bug me. Oh, yeah, it's on the hip line. It's on the lower hip line here. I always wonder if it shouldn't be up here. But naturally hanging arms, your wrist is right about your hip line. So then if this is naturally rounded out because of that circle, I'm going to go to the elbow. Okay, my hand is straight, so it's going to go down to my wrist. The inside of my arm starts at the inside of this circle. It's going to come down to the inside of my elbow. Okay, smaller circle. It's going to come down to the inside of my wrist here. And then with drawing this hand, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add kind of think about these as bigger shapes rather than individual fingers for right now. So I'm going to add kind of a curve line, an upside down curve line. I'm going to connect it to the wrist. And then instead of worrying about fingers right now, I am just going to add kind of a triangle that's going to serve as my fingers for right now. And oh my gosh, ta-da! We have done it. We have made the human form. What I like to do now is I'm going to go over the outside lines, like I'll do the chin. If you notice, I like to pull my pencil down towards me rather than pushing my pencil. Everyone has their own techniques, but I tend to like to draw down. I'm going to do my neck. Here I'm correcting things as I go, but I'm going to go around the edges. I'm just going a little bit darker with my pencil. And then I can, not on this one because we're using this one as a reference, but this will help me kind of be confident in what I have done. Remember, there's a little circle right there. Pop that down. There's your ankle bone. Here's our thigh. Here's our calf. Here's our other thigh. Our other calf. Foot. This one. Start at the top again. Shoulder. Round it. Straight down. Do 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 do. It's actually kind of bent forward a little bit. Fix this. And that actually should come out just a little bit. Remember, there's a circle there, so there's a tiny little like boop, even though I erased it. And ta-da! There is my human form. Is it perfect? No. But is this a good start? Yes. So what I encourage you guys to do again and again as you're sitting there watching television or you just need a break, take anything that you're doing, draw a straight line, like add the top and bottom, and practice breaking that up. So all the way down, half, half, half. Work your way back down. X, up a quarter, down a quarter, break it up again. Okay, and then from here, I can just draw the chin. Here's my shoulders. Here's the bottom of my rib cage. Here's the top of my rib cage. Here's my shoulders again. Do-do-do-do. There's that trapezoid. There's that trapezoid. Here's my knees. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Here's my feet. Do-do-do-do. There's my waist. There's some circles. Practice eyeballing that out. There's my arms. Yay! There's my arms. Yay! So yes, this video took a long time. Happy face. Shoulder. But ta-da! Like, you can easily draft this out. So practice. Yes. Over and out. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Leave comments in the comment section wherever it is, and I will talk to you soon.